Dear Professor, fellow classmates and course-mates, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here is our midterm presentation under the course Strategic Management, and the topic we are going to be presenting is mergers and acquisitions. Group members. First group member, myself, Glenn Lenyoy. Second member, Igwe Okereke Ikpo. And third member, Jamjut Ngong. Now we'll move to I'm going to explain like on the introduction. Mergers and acquisitions, that is in abbreviation form M&A, is a general term that describes the consolidation of companies or assets through various types of financial transactions, including mergers, acquisitions, consolidations, tender offers, purchase of assets, and management acquisitions. The term M&A also refers to the desks at financial institutions that deal in such activities. Key takeaway: terms mergers and acquisitions are often used interchangeably, but they differ in meaning. In acquisition, one company purchases another outright. A merger is the combination of two firms which subsequently form a new legal entity under the banner of one corporate name. A company can be objectively valued by studying comparable companies in an industry and using metrics. This all centers around the core of our work, as we will further expatiate on the types of M&A, that is, mergers and acquisition as a strategic alliance, how mergers are structured, mergers and acquisitions well explained, and how mergers and acquisitions are valued. So we are going to move to the first part of our work, where we are going to I'm going to further explain on the types of mergers and acquisitions. The first type of mergers and acquisitions we are going to present is the mergers. In mergers, the board of directors for two companies approve the combination and seek shareholders' approval. For example, in 1998, a merger deal occurred between the Digital Equipment Corporation and Compaq, whereby Compaq absorbed the Digital Equipment Corporation. Compaq later merged with Hewlett-Packard in 2002. Compaq's pre-merger ticker symbol was CPQ. This was combined with Hewlett-Packard's ticker symbol HWP to create the current ticker symbol HPQ. We'll move to the second, which is acquisitions. In a simple acquisition, the acquiring company obtains the major stake in the acquired firm, which does not change its name or alter its organizational structure. An example of this type of transaction is Manulife Financial Corporations 2004. In 2004, they made the acquisition of Johns Hancock Financial Service, wherein both companies preserve their names and organizational structures. We'll move to the next type of mergers and acquisition, which is consolidations. Consolidation here is where a new company by combination core and businesses and abandoning the old corporate structures. That is, it creates a new company by combining the business core and abandoning the old structures of that company. So stockholders of both companies must approve the consolidation and subsequent to the approval, receive common equity shares in the new firm. For example, in 1998, Citicorp and Travelers Insurance Group announced a consolidation which resulted in Citigroup. The next will be tender offers. In a tender offer, one company offers to purchase the outstanding stock of the other firm at a specific price rather than the market price. The acquiring company communicates the offer directly to the other company's shareholders by passing the management and board of directors. We'll move to the next type of mergers and acquisition, which is acquisition of assets. In acquisition of assets, one company directly acquires the assets of another company. The company whose assets are being acquired must obtain approval from its shareholders. The purchase of assets is typical during bankruptcy proceedings, wherein other companies bid for various assets of the bankrupt company, which is liquidated upon the final transfer of assets to the acquired firm. Next type of mergers and acquisitions I'm going to present is management acquisitions. In a management acquisition, also known as a management-led buyout, a company's executives purchase a controlling stake in another company, taking it private. These former executives often partner with a financier or former corporate officers in an effort to help fund a transaction. Such mergers and acquisition transactions are typically financed disproportionately with debt, and majority of shareholders must approve it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my able prof and my fellow classmates. In continuation with our presentation, how merger are structured. Merger can be structured in a number of different ways based on the relationship between the two companies involved in the deal. Horizontal merger is where two companies that are in direct competition and share the same product line and market. Vertical merger here, a customer and company or a supplier and company. Think of an ice cream maker merging with a coin supplier. Congenerate merger are structured when two businesses that serve the same customer based in different ways, such as TV manufacturer and a cable company. Market extension measure two companies that sell the same product in different markets. Product extension measure. Here, two companies selling different but related product in the same market. Conglomeration is when two companies that have no common business area. Merger may also be distinguished by following two financial methods, each with its own ramification for investors. How acquisitions are financed. A company can buy another company with cash, stock, assumption, or debt, or a combination of some or all of the three. In smaller deals, it is also common for one company to acquire all of another company's assets. Company X buy all of Company Y's assets for cash, which means the Company Y will have only cash in brackets and debt, if any. Of course, Company Y become merely a shell and will eventually liquidate or enter other area of business. Another acquisition deal, known as reverse merger, enable a private company to become publicly listed in a relatively short time period. Reverse merger occur when a private company that has strong prospects and is eager to acquire financing buys a publicly listed share company with no legitimate business operation and limited assets. The private company reverse merger into the public company and together they become an entirely new public corporation with tradable shares. Mergers and acquisition as a strategic alliance. A strategic alliance can be defined as a cooperative business activity formed by two or more separate organizations for strategic purposes that allocate ownership, operational responsibilities, financial risk, and reward to each member while preserving their separate identity/autonomy. Alliance can allow participants to achieve critical mass benefit from other participants' skills and can allow skill transfer between participants. The technical difference between a strategic alliance and a joint venture is whether or not a new independent business entity is formed. A strategic alliance is often a preliminary step to a joint venture or an acquisition. A strategic alliance can take many forms, from loose information agreements to a formal joint venture. Alliances include partnership, joint venture, and contracting out service to outside supplier. 7 characteristics of a well-structured alliance have been identified. Strategic survey. More strength when combined than they have independently. Positioning opportunity. At least one of the companies should be able to gain a leadership position, that is, to sell a new product or service, to secure access to raw material or technology. Bracket close. Limited resources available. A potentially good partner will have strengths that complement weakness of the other partner. One of the partners could not do this alone. Less risk forming. The alliance reduces the risk of the venture. Cooperative spirit. Both companies must want to do this and be willing to cooperate fully. Clarity of purpose. Result, milestone, method, and resources. And resources commitment must be clearly understood. Win-win. The structure, risk operation, and reward must be fairly apportioned among members. Some organizations try to remain some of the innovation and flexibility that is characteristics of small company by forming strategic alliance in bracket closer working relationship bracket close with other organizations. They also play an important role in global strategies where the organization lack a key success factor for some markets. Mergers and acquisition well explained. In a merger, there is usually a process of negotiation involved between the two companies prior to the combination taking place. For example, assume that companies A and B are existing financial institutions. Company A is a high street bank, while a large commercial customer base. Company B is a building society or similar organization specializing in providing home loan for the domestic market. Both companies may consider that a merger will produce benefit, as it would make the commercial and domestic commercial base available to the combined company. There will be obviously There, there will obviously be some complications and difficulties involved, but there are also some obvious potential synergies available. For example, Company B might be able to use its home loan experience to offer better deal to potential and existing mortgage customers of Company A. The two companies may decide to initiate merger merger negotiation. If these are favorable, the outcome would be a merger of the two companies to form a new larger whole. In an acquisition, the negotiation process does not necessarily take place. In an acquisition, Company A buys Company B. Company B becomes wholly owned by Company A. Company B might be totally absorbed and cease to exist as a separate entity, or Company A might retain Company B in the pre-acquired form. This limited absorption is often practiced where it is the intention of Company A to sell off Company B at a profit at some later date. In acquisition, the dominant company is usually referred as the acquirer, and the lesser company is known as the acquired. The lesser company is often referred to as the target up to the point where it becomes acquired. In most cases, the acquirer acquires the target by buying its shares. The acquirer buys shares from the target's shareholders up to a point where it becomes the owner. Achieving ownership may require purchases of all the target shares of a majority of them. Different countries have different laws and regulations on what define target ownership. Acquisition can be friendly or hostile. In the case of a friendly acquisition, the target is willing to be acquired. The target may view the acquisition as an opportunity to develop into new area and use the resources offered by the acquirer. This happens this happens particularly in the case of a small successful company that wish to develop and expand but are held back by lack of capital. The smaller company may actively seek out a large partner willing to provide the necessary investment. In this scenario, the acquisition is sometimes referred to as friendly or agreed acquisition. Alternatively, the acquisition may be hostile. In this case, the target is opposed to the acquisition. Hostile acquisitions are sometimes referred to as hostile takeovers. One tactic for avoiding a hostile takeover is for the target to seek another company with which it would rather merge or be acquired by. This third company, if it is agreed, is sometimes referred to as a white king, a white knight, as it comes to the rescue of the threatened target. In hostile takeover, the acquirer may attempt to buy large amounts of the target's shares on the open market. The problem with this action is that the target share price will tend to increase in value as soon as any large-scale purchases are detected. In order to minimize share price rise, the acquirer may attempt to buy as much stock as possible in the shortest possible time, preferable as soon as the market opens. This practice is sometimes referred to as a down rate, as it attempts to take the market in bracket insofar as is possible bracket close. In both friendly and hostile takeover, the decision on whether or not to sell share in the target lies with the shareholders. If all or a large proportion of target shareholders agree to sell their shares, ownership will be transferred to the acquirer. Shareholders generally will agree to a merger if they are recommended to do so by the board of directors, and if they stand to make a profit on the deal. The acquirer may offer either cash or its own share in exchange for target shares. Cash transfer offers shareholders an immediate potential profit, whereas shares offer a long-term investment. Share transactions tend to be more attractive to shareholders in a buoyant market as the value of the share is likely to increase more rapidly than in a stagnant market. Technically, a merger is in essence the pooling of interest by two business entities which result in ownership. An acquisition normally involves a large company, a predator in bracket, acquiring a smaller company in bracket, a target. A merger typically involves the creation of a new company with mutual decision-making by each party entering into the agreement. All staffs therefore feel that their view and culture will be expressed in the new venture. Acquisition often experience more resistance from staffs than merger, as the acquired business will be the less powerful partner and will have less influence on future decisions. Acquisitions are usually easier to control as the predator can more easily and quickly dictate control, working method, power structure, etc. There are also more opportunities to remove excess or inefficient senior management in the acquired business than would be possible with a merger. The acquisition can also be quicker to complete as it involves an acquisition of the share of the target company in bracket, though this can have a high cost and have a significant financial impact bracket close. Mergers do not often require an exchange of an acquisition price, but they do involve the creation of a new entity, which can be slow and complex. Merger will require new branding, for example, which an acquisition can avoid by simply using the branding of the predator. But mergers provide a better pooling of skill and resources, with each party focusing on its core competence. A merger allows all parties to participate and feature growth and synergies, whereas an acquisition allows only the predator to receive these in bracket, although the target company seller are often compensated for this in the acquisition price.
Thank you, my fellow group mates Igwe Okereke, for handing me the floor. Greetings to you, cosmate. Greetings, dear professor. I will talk more on how mergers and acquisitions are valued. Both companies involved on either side of a merger and acquisition deal will value the target company differently. The seller will obviously value the company at the highest price possible, while the buyer will attempt to buy it for the lowest price possible. Fortunately, a company can be objectively valued by studying comparable companies in an industry and by relying on the following metrics: price to earning ratio. With the use of price to earning ratio, an acquiring company makes an offer that is a multiple of the earnings of the target company. Examining the price to earning ratio for all the stocks within the same industry group will give the acquiring company good guidance for what the target price to earning ratio multiplied should be. Enterprise value to sale ratio. With an enterprise value to sale ratio, the acquiring company makes an offer as a multiple of the revenues while being aware of the price to sales ratio of other companies in the industry. Discounted cash flow. A key valuation tool in merger and association, a discounted cash flow analysis determines a company's current value according to its estimated future cash flows. Forecasted free cash flows in bracket net income plus depreciation stroke amortization capital expenditures change in working capital bracket close are discounted to estimated future cash flows. A present value using the company's weighted average cost of capital. Admittedly, DCF is tricky to get right, but few tools can rival this valuation method. Replacement cost. In a few cases, acquisitions are based on the cost of replacing the target company. For simplicity's sake, suppose the value of a company is simply the sum of its equipment and staffing costs. The acquiring company can literally order the target to sell at that price, or it will create a competitor for the same cost. Naturally, it takes a long time to assemble good management, acquire property, and purchase the right equipment. This method of establishing a price certainly would make much sense in a service industry wherein these key assets in bracket people and ideas are hard to value and develop. In conclusion, we can say generally that merger differs from acquisition. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Hope you learned something. Bye bye.